Hey everyone, and welcome to yet another, very quick after the last one, Squid Sisters Stories episode. Wow, I kind of called it. Last video I had mentioned that the Squid Sisters Stories was probably going to be continuing, probably today, if not throughout the rest of the week. I guess I just kind of felt the timing there. But yeah, another unscripted video for you guys. This is going to be just sort of an overview. I've already read it. I try and read it beforehand so I can formulate my thoughts and impressions for the actual video itself. But let's jump into this chapter 2. It's a whole lot meatier than the other ones in terms of meaning, not necessarily content-wise, but meaning-wise, it's very thick. So let's get into it. So, Marie was home alone. She'd gotten a day off, but with theater rehearsals starting up next month, she knew life would be returning quickly to its frantic pace. Chances to relax at home like this would soon become few and far between. Knowing work would keep Callie out late, Marie busied herself with the chores that always seemed to pile up and waited for her friend to return home. At times like this, Marie's thoughts always seemed to drift. How had Callie truly felt when the results of the final Splatfest had been announced? She seemed disappointed, of course, but that was just because she'd lost, right? Or was she actually jealous of my rising popularity? Could she still be holding it against me after all this time? Just listen to yourself, Marie. You're overthinking this. You know Callie would never feel that way. Maybe all this worrying has actually given you some sort of superiority complex. Maybe winning that final Splatfest has made you full of yourself. The very idea stung Marie with a twinge of self-loathing. Okay, so right away, you guys can tell that what I was explaining in the last video concerning more mature themes and more themes that are geared toward a clearly older demographic is starting to shine through very clearly here. I mean, geez, especially if we consider that last line there, the very idea stung Marie with a twinge of self-loathing. So we're getting into self-loathing now is one of the themes that they brought up. And the last one, it was more sort of adult responsibilities, trying to hone in on that sort of world, the idea of getting older and the coming of age sort of thing, and having to deal with rising popularity and things like that. In this one, it's more of personal life and personal feelings and emotions that are beginning to culminate in Marie's self-loathing for the fact that she might actually be shunning her counterpart and basically pushing her out of the limelight. This is pretty interesting because it's just showing just exactly how busy they are, to the point of which Marie just has to constantly be thinking of these sorts of things, and who knows where this could lead. It almost seems as though there's going to be a pretty large rift that severs the duo's relationship in some sort of way. It's kind of too early to see right now, but it's obviously going to take a turn for the worst very soon. It's very interesting also how Callie seems to be the one that's perpetually absent, how she's just constantly just always gone. This could lead to a lot of different possibilities, actually. Certainly, we wouldn't like to dispel the idea of our theory just quite yet, because we think that analysis is pretty apt and it could still technically happen within the confines of this story. It doesn't necessarily seem to be pointing that direction now. It seems to be more of a social kind of separation that they've had. It seems more personable. It seems a little bit more like there's something very real and very organic going on between the relationship, and that's something that's very, very, very good to see in terms of storytelling for any Nintendo game, actually, nowadays. It's still good to see that they're putting so much work into the stories as they used to, and that this extra lore is actually giving us a lot of insight, contrary to what people thought that the story would actually involve. And frankly, if I'm being completely honest, I didn't actually think it would get this far either. I did not think that this story would have a whole lot of exposition, just like the first game. How the first game sort of gave you a pretty linear story with it wasn't very multifaceted at all. It had kind of a few elements that, you know, branched out into different areas. I think the pinnacle of that obviously was the sunken scrolls and the you know, different collectibles you can find in the single player story. But beyond that, I think Splatoon 1 was rather simplistic in the way that it told its narrative. It seems like Splatoon 2 is really trying to hone in on making their worlds seem very alive and very organic. So this is neat. This is really neat. So we can expect to see this downward spiral to reach a rock bottom at some point, and to get some further explanation. I'm actually kind of excited to see a little bit more of what Callie's doing now that we understand what Marie's mindset is. But it does look like, as I said, the last Splatfest did actually influence the tides of the story, and that is something that I said out loud but never really believed, and I'm just so glad to find out that that's actually the case. So yeah, just tell me what you guys think in the comment section. We'll discuss this as well as the last one. Sorry, I know it was kind of a really crazy day for videos, one after the other, but it's best to cover this now so that we're all caught up, instead of sort of doing chapter 2 right before chapter 3 comes out, and etc, etc. So yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate all of the views and the comments and the discussion that you guys start up. Please, if you have any additional theories that you might be able to contribute, let us know, because there have been some really interesting ideas floating around forums and things that I've been really itching to make videos about, but I know that I can't really jump the gun on a lot of those things. But we'll see. We'll see where this goes. So again, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.